Hey, good afternoon, Trondhjem friends, and welcome to this week's episode of Patio Ponderings. My patio today is the office entrance to Trondhjem Church, and this entrance area has been a favorite hangout spot for the box elder bugs this fall. Today there's not too many of them, but they are certainly present. I wonder about them every day when I come to church. I wonder if there will be more of them. I wonder if there will be 1 million of them. I wonder if I'll be able to get in church, if the doors will just be crawling with them. I wonder if some weird blast of radiation will come along during the night and explode them to 1 million times their sizes. My fears are running away with me. And that's the clue as to what I've been thinking about this week is fear. So our story this past week is a story we don't hear much in worship, but we should. This is quite an incredible story when we start to really pick it apart and listen to what's happening here. It takes place at the very beginning of the Exodus story, the beginning of the enslavement of God's people, the Hebrews or the Israelites. That's interchangeable right here. And the current Egyptian Pharaoh has forgotten the relationship that they have had previously with each other, and he has decided that they are a threat to him. So he has enslaved God's people, he has subjected them to hard labor, but that's not all. He calls the Hebrew midwives, 2 Hebrew midwives named Shiphrah and Puah, to his presence and orders them to kill the boy babies that are born to the Israelite women. They can let the girls live. The midwives' allegiance, though, their work they do for the good of the people, for God's good. And this is our vocational theme this week, called on purpose for good. Their allegiance is to God and God's good, and so they disobey the Pharaoh. These 2 enslaved women with no power, status, agency disobey the Pharaoh. Give them mad props for that, right? But here really is what's caught my attention is why the Pharaoh is doing all of this to begin with. And this we read in verses 8 and 9. So the Pharaoh said to his people, "The Israelite people are now larger in number and stronger than we are. Come on, let's be smart and deal with them. Otherwise, they'll only grow in number. And if war breaks out, they will join our enemies to fight against us, and then they'll escape from the land." Do you hear the fear in Pharaoh's reasoning here? Do you hear the what ifs he's going through in his mind? What if we go to war? What if those people rise up against us? What if they escape? Now, there's nothing into this story that suggests that this could actually happen, okay? Just like there's nothing in reality here that suggests some weird radiation blast is going to come along and the box elder bugs are going to grow to 1 million times their size and eat the church. And yet, he is fearful of this happening. And I started to think more deeply about this and why he is fearful of the people. Because the Israelites have been residing in Egypt now for generations. They came out of the story of Joseph. Do you remember the story of Joseph and his fancy colored coat in which his father gave him? And Joseph had saved the land from famine. But the Pharaoh has forgotten all this. But what strikes me is all this time that the Israelites have resided in the land of the Egyptians, they're still the Israelites. They're still them. The Egyptians are still us. They've remained us and them. They've remained 2 different peoples. They haven't come together to be one. And when we have an other, when there is a label we put on those people, and we haven't done the work to be in real relationship, when we haven't done the work to keep our commonalities and our common good and our common goals in sight, we start to become fearful of the other, and we start to see them as a threat. And as I think about this, I think about our current context and our current culture and how polarized we are. We have so many groups of us and them, white and black and rich and poor and red and blue and straight and gay, and all of these labels that we've assigned to each other, and we have lost sight of being in relationship with each other. We've lost sight of our commonalities. We've lost sight of what our common good is. And this is so much rooted in our calling as followers of Jesus. We are called to use our gifts with the purpose of being the kingdom of God, and that means we work for the common good, for God's common good, not what the culture might see as good, or what government or politics might see as good, but God's common good. And God's common good is about love, and it's about justice. It's about real relationship. It's about being one community where there is no us and there is no them. There's so much packed in this story. We could pull it apart in so many different ways. But I'm going to leave you with this today to think about those different kinds of what ifs. What if we got rid of our labels? What if we worked for what was the common, for what is God's common good for all of us? What if we stopped letting fear rule our relationships or lack thereof with our neighbor? Lots to think about in our story today. Lots to think about in our ponderings. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you on Sunday, and don't let those box elder bugs get you. Bye.